Hello, everyone. How are you? God bless you too. Hello, Jeanette. Jeanette says, God bless this meeting through the action of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your prayers. Thank you so much. How are you all doing? It is nice to see you. Just plump up my hair. Oh, I just poked myself in the eye. Ow, that hurt. Okay, we won't do that, all right? I don't know, this video kind of makes my hair look all funky, but that's okay. Now I got something in my eye. Now, hang on. And I prayed no mishaps. That's what you get for being vain, right? You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain. I love that song. Ow. Okay. Well, I've just been put in my place. I love it. I love it. Oh, that's so cool. All right, how you guys doing? My name is Shannon Gilmore. Welcome to Positively Spiritual. And on this channel, anything can happen. So, yeah, everything good happens here on this channel. You get lots of learning. You get educated. You totally do. You learn on this channel. So welcome. Sit down, get comfy. Tune in, turn off the radio, turn off your phones in the way of notifications, because you're just going to want to tune into this one, because we are talking about hell in disguise, how the narcissist shared fantasies fragment your mind. Hi, Andrea. Nice to see you. Welcome. Come on in. How is everyone today? It is nice to see you. Now, you know, on Positively Spiritual, we talk a lot about psychology. We talk a lot about narcissism. We dive in, we dissect, we learn about the hidden spiritual aspects of narcissism and ourselves to help us heal. If that sounds like that's up your alley, well then take a seat, sit down, because you're gonna want to listen. Welcome. How you doing? We are here twice a day, and every video is something new. We are here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and 10 o'clock in the evening. You get us twice a day. So if that is something that you want to get on board with, you are welcome to this channel. Subscribe, like this video, geek out on the other videos that we've got going on in this channel, and by all means, please feel free to comment and share your stories in the chat below. Just, I ask, please be kind, be courteous, be conscientious of your audience, because not everybody thinks and acts like you, and we're all in different spots in our healing. So a little bit of kindness goes a long way. So let's show our spiritual fruit tonight, okay? Hi, everyone. So the most devastating part of narcissistic relationship, it seems like it isn't just the abuse. I mean, the emotional abuse is, you know, enough to take, like seriously. But what is also going on, what is also deeply dangerous, is the shared fantasy that lingers long after the narcissist is gone. This fantasy isn't about love. It isn't even about you. It's about the narcissist idealizing themselves through you. They don't love their partner. See, that's the question we're always left with after the love fades, or the seemingly love fades, the affection, the attention. We're left, did they even love me? Excuse me, did they even care about me? Well, the truth is hard to hear. And the truth is that they don't love us. A narcissist is incapable of loving us. They love the reflection of their own grandiosity that the relationship that we provide, our side of the relationship provides. This is why they pull us into intoxicating, hyper-idealized connections, only to systematically dismantle us and dismantle the relationship while keeping us emotionally hooked to them. Oh, frick. This sounds like a psyop. From the very beginning, the narcissist's goal was to create or maintain limerence. This is a state of obsessive longing where your emotions become tied to their approval. They flood you with admiration, mirroring your deepest desires, crafting the illusion that they are a perfect match for you. Yeah, it's so sweet. It seems so genuine. Hi, Maria. Nice to see you. Welcome. Come on in. It seems genuine, but in reality, they are just building a stage where they play the role of the ultimate lover, the ultimate friend, the ultimate co-worker, the person who has your back, who is on your side, and you unknowingly become a devoted audience member upon whose job is to reflect back their perfection. No, you're not allowed to show your perfection. You're not allowed to show, your strengths. No. It's all about them. You're supposed to give them praise and stand in the gap for them when they feel weak. You're supposed to build them up every chance you get. See, you believe that the love is real because it feels real. Your brain leads you to feel like it's real. Your brain responds with dopamine and oxytocin, reinforcing the belief that this connection is once in a lifetime. Hello, Ted. How you doing? Jesus was not a nice guy? Okay, you want to get into that argument, huh? He was nice when he had to be. But depending on the definition of nice, well, a narcissist is totally nice. Oh, I'll give it back to you. I came not to send peace. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Matthew chapter 10, verse 34. He also came to reconcile us to him. So, yeah. You're right. But see how... Okay, Ted. Hello, Cynthia. How are you doing? So my question to you, Ted, is does Jesus treat you nicely? Does he treat you kindly with compassion and mercy and grace? Absolutely he does. But he still is a dividing sword, right? His word causes division between your soul and your ego. And you get to pick and choose which one. And you're wrestling because you know what the right thing to do is, but it's difficult to make that choice. So it's actually our egos that are not nice. But yeah. A sword is his sword. Yeah, the sword of truth. Okay, so the narcissist, they flood you with admiration, mirroring your deepest desires, crafting the illusion that you are a perfect match for them. But in reality, they are building a stage where they play the role of the ultimate lover, the ultimate friend, ultimate co-worker, and you unknowingly just become the devoted servant, the devoted audience member, the pawn in their game, as you are meant to reflect their perfection. And you believe that their love is real because your brain gives you the dopamine fix, the oxytocin, reinforcing the belief that this connection that you have with them is once in a lifetime. And for a while, it seems perfect. It really does seem like the two of you are on, you guys are going after the same thing. You guys want the same things. You guys are working together and it seems to be working. But no, you're not looking for the cracks, so you don't see them until the cracks of the relationship are obvious. Ted says, I once saw a soccer t-shirt with Jesus as a goalie and it said, Jesus saves. Interesting. Interesting. Cute and interesting. I would have liked the umpire going, safe! Baseball, safe! I love it when the umpire does that. Safe. Anyways, the moment you stop reflecting the narcissist's idealized image, the devaluation begins. They pull back, growing cold and indifferent, as if you've done something wrong. But what changed? You certainly didn't. The only thing that changed is that you stopped serving the fantasy. And now, rather than offering love, they offer intermittent reinforcement, small glimpses of the person they once that was a joke. I got stuck on I started stuttering on purpose. Once pretended to be. So let me say that again. They offered intermittent reinforcement, small glimpses of the person they once pretended to be. Just enough to keep you addicted. The more you chase, the more they pull away, deepening your emotional dependency. You are no longer an equal in the relationship. You are a subject in their psychological experiment. Well, I mean, that's what it seems like, right? But it's not an experiment. They're just using you. And they're conditioning you to seek their approval while enduring their rejection. You're not their lab rat, even though it feels like it. You're just their pawn. So when the narcissist finally leaves, or you find strength to walk away, the fantasy doesn't die immediately. In fact, it can oftentimes, it does, grow stronger. Devaluation is brutal, says Maria. But the narcissism script, it's their psychological issue. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you find yourself, when they leave or you've left, when the relationship is said and done, you find yourself replaying the good times, trying to reconcile how someone could once seem so perfect and such a match where you could be so cruel and heartless. Well, this is what cognitive dissonance looks like. It's the mind's desperate attempt to make sense of two conflicting ideas or realities. But the truth is, there was never one reality. There was only the fantasy and the real narcissist. And the two could not be more different. The hardest part of healing isn't missing the narcissist. That's not the issue. It's grieving the illusion. The person you fell in love with never existed. Well, they do in you. See, the narcissist mirrored you back to yourself, and you were led to believe that person that you saw was actually the narcissist. But you're grieving the facade, you're grieving the fraudulent nature of the relationship. See, they were just a construct, a role played with precision to ensnare you. And once you see that, the fantasy begins to lose its power, and you start to realize that your worth was never tied to their validation. The pain you feel isn't proof of love, it's proof of psychological conditioning. This is how cult worship is made. This is the cult of narcissism that we get involved in. Freedom comes when you stop believing in the fantasy, when you stop looking for closure from someone incapable of truth, when you stop trying to make sense of the senseless. The narcissist never truly saw you, but that doesn't mean that you have to stay blind to yourself. The moment you start reclaiming your identity outside of their illusion is the moment that you truly wake up. And once you do, the narcissist fades into irrelevance, because without your belief, let me say that again, without your belief in them, without your reflection, their fantasy collapses. And you You finally get to blah, 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 blah. You finally get to live your truth. Why am I tripping up over my words tonight? So let's just back up, because I want to back up to the beginning to understand how relationships with the narcissist is established, because you have a fantasy about the narcissist yourself. It's not all just about them. See, in regular, normal relationships, it's normal to have a shared fantasy, because together we create a bond as your fantasies and my fantasies about you and your fantasies about me and about the relationship, they somehow meet in the middle. That's what makes a shared fantasy, where the two of you are on your best behavior, giving each other, showing each other the best as you step up to the plate and you give your best. But this isn't necessarily where the two of you or one of you is on the up and up. Like, it's, you know, the narcissist, when it comes to having a shared fantasy with you, there's something that's more twisted that's going on here. See, the narcissist isn't showing up to the relationship. They're not meeting you in the middle by showing you, oh, this is who I am, take it or leave it. Hi, I'm kind, I'm nice, and I'm going to show you I'm kind and nice and genuine and compassionate. No, instead, they show up to the relationship reflecting you and lying to you and leading you to believe that, oh, I'm just like you. And so what you then believe is that, oh, this is heaven sent. This is from God. This is too coincidental. This has to be serendipitous. This has to be something of the divine. So then if you start believing that, then you are less likely to give up when the relationship goes sour. No, this is God ordained, so I'm in this. So in this shared fantasy, even though you don't show your faults yet, and the narcissist doesn't show their faults yet, just know that the narcissist is not stepping up to the plate on equal footing. They're not meeting you where you're at. They're using your persona to hide their flawed self. So they're coming to the relationship flawed, but they're just hiding their flaws. They hide behind your shared fantasy and use your ideal version of yourself to create a fantasy where they place you on a pedestal. And this pedestal is enormously high. See, in normal relationships, we do put people on a pedestal because, I mean, we see the goodness. And that goodness that we see helps to weigh when we see a person's flaws. We look at the person objectively and weigh their flaws against the good that we know them to be. And then we make a decision, okay, I'm going to help them through this. It's okay, they're not that bad. You know, they did a mistake, they're not that bad. Or they're moody, okay, we'll just find a way to get through it. But when it concerns a narcissist in you, well, the narcissist puts you up here. They have high expectations of you. Hi, Jeanette, how you doing? Their fears, their hurt reflects ours, so this becomes a shared toxic fantasy. Yes, absolutely. But how do they know us like that so soon? Because they can read us like a book, because we're so open. We're so kind, we're so generous. You know, they can sense it. And they're hanging on to certain words that we say. And we do open up very quickly to them, So tell me about yourself. And they ask us questions, and we don't know, some of us, me included, don't know when to quit. We just feel comfortable. They make us feel comfortable, so we feel it's safe for us to just share and talk. And they're weighing everything that we say. And so we make it easy for them to lie to us. We make it easy for them to lie. So when the pedestal that they put us on is enormously high, why is that? Because you have to meet the narcissist on a level where they're at, and they have their persona on a pedestal. This is their grandiose sense of self. Well, that's put on a pedestal. And, you know, in psychology, we say, you know, if you really want to connect with somebody, meet them where they're at. Well, the narcissist doesn't meet us where we're at because they can't. And so they expect us to meet them where they are at. And so they idealize us and they build us up so that we start feeling confident about ourselves, and we level up and we measure up to their high stature. And they do this so that they can systematically take us down. They build us up to take us down because they can't have us on their level. Like, there's no comparison. They are better than everybody, but they need, in order to feel better than everybody, they need to build us up so that they can take us down. That's their, you know, where a relationship naturally has a limerence phase. And after the limerence phase, there's kind of this where you mellow out and you just kind of have this congruence of peace. Well, the narcissist creates peace in the relationship so that they can knock you off guard. They do not get into a relationship with you to have peace. They don't get into a relationship to get to know you, to, strive to do better or be better. They're in a relationship with you to systematically make them themselves feel better. And how they do that is to build you up so that they can pull the rug from underneath you and take you down and watch and laugh. Pretty sick and twisted. Well, that's demons for you. That's the demonic. That's the enemy going to Eve. Did God really say? Is sick. So their ideal self is enormously high, so high that it's delusional. And that is where they place you, on the leading edge of a delusional. Oh, you're like, they prop you up and they don't even know you, and they're singing your accolades. Like, they just praise you so high, and it feels good that you're not thinking that there's anything sinister. You're thinking, this person really believes this of me? Oh, wow, I kind of hit the jackpot. Wow, I don't see this in myself, and this person looking on the inside out looks at me this way? Oh, wow. That's pretty special. And you hold true and dear to those sentiments. But they place you on a delusional pedestal where in their minds you can do no wrong. And the minute that you start revealing your true self that goes against what they want and need you to do for them, well, then the narcissist starts seeing your flaws. And that's when the narcissist's delusion of you starts to fade, and they slowly become disappointed with you, and they begin to devalue you, which leads to the discard phase. Hi, resistor, how you doing? I would talk to him with couples counseling language such as I feel, insert emotion, then insert action. I need, insert need. And he would tell me I was attacking him. Yeah, like what the frig, exactly. Yep. So they can't understand our feelings. And resistor says they like to use the future fake tactic. Absolutely. So when they lift you high, we feel so loved. Yeah, and that's what does the most damage, is when you feel so loved, then you feel so hated. So the shared fantasy is a mirror for the narcissist's grandiosity. The shared fantasy is not about love. And it's not even about you. It is a psychological construct where the narcissist idealizes themselves through you. They need you to reflect an image of their perfection. So they see themselves through you. If they are sending you accolades and compliments, well, they're seeing themselves through you. And they're giving themselves compliments, but you think it's you. So they're seeing themselves through you. It's like they're looking at themselves. You are a persona of who they want to be. And you're whom they, like, it's almost like you are the projection of who they want to be, and you are the projection in physical form as how they perceive themselves in their heads. And they need you to reflect back that perfect image of themselves. And this is why they select partners who are highly empathetic, imaginative, and romantic. People who can immerse themselves in the fantasy. But because the narcissist's self-worth is hollow, they can't maintain this fantasy alone. They need you to believe in it, to play your role perfectly. If you fail to uphold this illusion, the entire structure threatens to collapse. They need you to be stuck in the limerence or the honeymoon phase. And they want this limerence phase permanent. But that's not how it works. But limerence, what that is that's the obsessive, addictive infatuation phase, the intense emotional longing, idealization, and chemical highs and lows that keep the partner physically and psychologically bound to you. The narcissist carefully cultivates this limerence at every stage of the relationship. But it gets old because it's like, you know me. You know I'm not. You know that I'm not up here. You know, I'm flawed. You know that. You know I'm not that smart. Or, you know that, it's just, it's like, once the limerence phase is over and the idealization, like the reality sets in of, you know yourself, you know who you're dealing with. It's like, okay, you don't need to blow smoke up my hiney anymore. Like, what's the deal with this flattery? Like, you can stop it. You know I'm not perfect. You know I'm not a rocket scientist, right? Like, come on, like, stop it. And this phase gets old. It's like it runs its course, but they want to maintain it. And so when you stop giving them compliments because you feel like they know how I feel about them, they don't need to hear that I'm in love with them, or that I like them, that I think they're so handsome or pretty. Like, do they really need to hear that every minute of the day? Like, I think I can go 1 or 2 days without telling them how sophisticated they are, or how impressive they are, and how they're so smart. I think I can go a few days or a week without saying that to them. They'll be okay. But no, the narcissist needs that from you. That's the limerence stage. And so the narcissist carefully cultivates this limerence at every stage of the relationship. And here's how they do it. The idealization, the high of the fantasy is what they're after. The narcissist floods their partner with love bombing, excessive admiration, mirroring, and intense emotional connection. They create a romanticized vision of the perfect love, making their partner feel like, oh, you're my soulmate. You guys have been there. I know I have so many times. And this activates the dopamine and reward system in the brain, making their partner, us, feel emotionally dependent on their validation. And more importantly, the narcissist's idealization, they idealize themselves through the relationship. Look at how amazingly I am attracted to someone like you. whatever. I roll. But this phase, it's unsustainable. It's unsustainable because eventually reality creeps in. No partner can perfectly maintain the narcissist idealization forever. It's freaking impossible. So the devaluation keeps the limerence alive through emotional deprivation. But what ends up happening is we don't go back to the limerence phase. Well, we do, but it's short-lived. It's not maintained. What ends up happening is this devaluation and idealization, this jumping back and forth, push and pull dynamic, creates the trauma bond. They effing play us for saps. Yes. Hi, Clyde. Nice to see you. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Yeah. So once the partner stops showing or starts showing individuality and stops showing a reflection back of their partner, that no longer is the narcissist reflected back to the narcissist, that perfection, the narcissist suddenly withdraws affection. This triggers attachment panic in the partner who desperately tries to regain the idealized connection again. And now the narcissist is playing the push and pull, the feeding off the partner's desperate longing, and this is like the narcissist offers breadcrumbs or bare minimum of the emotion as they keep their partner emotionally starved, keeping the partner, us, locked in a cycle as we wait or chase the next high. The narcissist stays in control while feeding off of our desperation. Gosh, I can't talk. The narcissist stays in control while still feeding off of the partner's desperation. I have desperate longing and I was changing that up. So I just my eyes saw it. I wanted to read it. My mind is like, no, don't say that word. So then I just so I really need to learn to memorize, but there's too much information to memorize. So I've got to read off a script. I'm sorry. That's just the way it's got to be. So the narcissist proves to themselves that they are still idealized in this shared fantasy because the narcissist is in control of this idealization. And the trauma bond, in my opinion, is a way for the narcissist to maintain that limerence. They expect you to maintain this phrase, but you can't because your brain is involved now. It's not just a matter of the heart, it's a matter of the mind, and the mind is causing the brain to switch between certain chemicals and it's just, you've got these hormones going on inside of you that you don't know. You don't figure this out. How can you? You just react. But it's what you're really reacting to is the dopamine or the oxytocin dump in your brain. You're not reacting to the narcissist. I mean, the narcissist, they cause this dopamine and oxytocin dump in you, and that's what you're reacting to, really. But, I mean, this is just so insidious. Whether the narcissist discards you or you leave, the shared fantasy doesn't end immediately. The narcissist may re-idolize you or idealize you, from a distance to uphold their own self-image. They may keep tabs on you. They may, ask questions about you through your friends and family. They may check up on you at work. You may see them across the street, or they may just happen to accidentally bump into you at your favorite store. Or they may smear campaign you. and devalue you in public while secretly hoping you stay obsessed. What the heck? Seriously? Because your longing actually reinforces their grandiosity. So, I mean, you know, those narcissists on social media that are telling people, you know, people ask the narcissist the question, did my narcissist ever love me? Do they still miss me? Do they want me back? Well, this is feeding those narcissists who are answering those people. This is feeding their grandiosity. And they're going to tell you what you want to hear. It's sick and twisted. But the narcissist is only in this to feed their grandiosity, to make themselves feel better because they can't deal with their feelings. That's ultimately what this is. Narcissism broken down is basically you've got a person who cannot feel, who cannot self-actualize, who cannot do better by being better, and they can't help themselves by making themselves feel better. They are an enemy to themselves. They can't be their own best friend. So in a nutshell, narcissist is this: a person who cannot be kind to themselves, a person who is stuck in self-loathing, and they need you to get them out of it. They need you to make them feel better. That's the bottom line, what narcissism is. So this is why narcissism or narcissists return to the hoovering, because they need you to remain in that limerence. They need to believe that you still want them. Even if they no longer want you, it doesn't matter. You know how a boost to the ego it is? Like, it is a boost to the ego when somebody says, yeah, the narcissist is pining for you. Or, yeah, they still want you. You're kind of like, oh, cool. You know, it's validating. It's validating your self-worth. But it's not cool. Because it's about control. And if you're in that stage where you're asking, does the narcissist still miss me? Do they still love me? And you get that jolt of, you know, validation, like, yeah, they still want me. They're still hanging around because they still love me. They'll be back. I used to say this to myself all the time. And it was a part of my control where I had this stupid idea of nobody's going to control me. I'm going to control people. And so I tried to control the narcissist, and the narcissist would leave and I'd be like, they'll be back. They always come back. They'll be back. And I used to think that that was a good thing. No, it's not. It's not a good thing. Once they're gone, close that frickin' door, lock it, bolt it. Put furniture in front of that door so they can't get through that door and you don't have easy access to them. Like, make it impossible for the narcissist to come back. The shared, the shared fantasy continues after the narcissist is gone. Even when the narcissist physically exits your life, the shared fantasy persists in your mind. And that's what you're wrestling with. Why? Why does it still remain? Because you are still mentally chasing the idealized version of them that never existed. You've been brainwashed. And you're trying to resolve what is called cognitive dissonance between the idealization and the abuse. There's two opposing and conflicting ideas, both in your head. You've got this emotional addiction to limerence. That's still active, keeping the fantasy alive, and this limerence is tied to the trauma bond. So breaking free from the narcissist is seeing the narcissist for who they truly are. The key to breaking free is to recognize that the limerence was not love. It was a psychological conditioning mechanism. The narcissist wasn't in love with you, never will be, never can be. That's just the fact. No is no. They cannot love you. They were in love. Well, They weren't in love with you at all. They loved how you made them feel. They liked how you made them feel. You gave them, you were the source of their dopamine rush. And you provided them with that grandiosity that they needed. The ex called me his drug. What? Hence the trauma bond. Oh, Jeanette, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. You know, the things that they say, right? Somehow they know what we want to hear. So when you withdraw your belief in the fantasy, when you start coming to grips, when you start coming to the realization and understand this, like research the scientific aspects, like this is why I share with you on this video platform, the scientific aspects, the brain scans of narcissists, where there is no response, where empathy is supposed to be in a narcissist, it's zero. There is no electricity firing off in their brains that show that they are engaging in empathy. There's nothing. The gray matter is missing there. Their brains are actually shrunken. They're smaller than a normal human brain. So this, like, understanding the science that you can't refute, understanding the proof that the narcissist is different, that they literally cannot love you, understanding this helps you to practice radical acceptance. You have to accept the truth. The truth is that brain scans show that the narcissist cannot love. They cannot show empathy. That's the long and short of it. And you can't refute what the brain scans show. The proof is there. So how do you go against that? If you go against that, well, then you become delusional. And you see how delusional that the narcissist is, and you see how wrong being delusional is. So you don't want to go there. So you have no choice but to accept that fact. And because you accept that fact, then you can start the grieving process of grieving the loss of this fantasy that you thought you had. When you start letting go of this fantasy, the narcissist loses their power, because their entire identity is built on external validation. And once you stop feeding it, they are left with their own emptiness. They've got to take responsibility for themselves. Okay, what's your question, Cynthia? I'm cracking up at the part about the shrinking brain. That's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty sad. You know, psychologists say that the narcissists are extremely smart and intelligent. No, they're not. They're not intelligent at all. They just keep repeating this pattern that works for them because we were ignorant. We were unaware that narcissism actually existed. That's how they were able to be so prolific. And that's how they were able to appear to be so engaging and so smart and intelligent, because we were none the wiser. So with all this proof you have, how is my narc living with a psychologist? Because psychologists are even swayed. And maybe the psychologist is a narcissist. Narcissists do get along with other narcissists to some degree. And narcissists do pair up with other narcissists. They do. And somehow they are able to make it work. But does it last? No. But it may last a little bit longer, because love isn't in the details with this. So therapists and psychologists, they are people too. And there's many people who are therapists and psychologists who are narcissists. And there's many psychologists and therapists who are not, and still are sidewinded by the narcissist. The narcissist is good at their game, because as a therapist, you're taught to believe the individual. You're not taught to be skeptical. You're not trained. That's not a part of our training. A part of our training is to believe the individual and then help them in their belief and look for signs that are incongruent with their belief and help them work it out. And sometimes it does. Sometimes helping somebody in therapy, it does prove that, oh, they're not who they say they are. But I mean, narcissists can share a really good sob story. So, how do two narcissists work? I don't know. I don't know. But sometimes it does. When you have, when you have like what is considered a covert or a lesser narcissist, you have the dominant narcissism, or narcissist, you have the submissive narcissist. I mean, that's how it would work, where one person is dominant, the other one is submissive. So, hi Jordan, how you doing? It's nice to see you. The psychology field is full of narcissism, narcissistic therapists. Not at all, but many dangerously experienced. Yeah. 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 So, yeah. So there you go. I'm just reading your comments. She will have a huge disappointment one day. Absolutely. A narcissistic relationship can't last. Whether it's with two narcissists or with somebody, just one narcissist. Narcissists don't get involved for long-term, like for long-term supply, yes, but not for love. Not for love and romance, no. So shared fantasy with the narcissist causes brain damage, but it's brain damage that we can recover from. It causes our brains to kind of misfire information as we wrestle with the person we once were of the past and the person that we have been created to be in the present. This shared fantasy of with the narcissist causes a deep psychological misfire, causing what is called fracturing or psychological fragmentation. It is the experience of feeling mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually split due to trauma, prolonged stress, or manipulation. It happens when a person's sense of self is broken into conflicting parts that struggle to integrate. Instead of seeing yourself as a whole, cohesive individual, you experience inner division, sometimes feeling like different versions of yourself. You're at odds with one another. And that's true because as a spiritual being, you're at odds with your ego and your divinity. You're at odds with righteousness and unrighteousness. So in the context of narcissistic abuse, fragmentation occurs because the target, or us, the victims of narcissism, were forced to adopt contradictory roles to survive. The narcissist idealizes us one moment and devalues us the next, creating a deep confusion about who we really are. And over time, we kind of internalize both the idealized version, who we were in the narcissist shared fantasy, and the devalued version, the person who we're made to feel like during the abuse. These conflicting identities cause emotional dissonance, making it difficult to trust our own thoughts, our own feelings, and our own sense of reality. So that's kind of why we gravitate to more narcissists, because we can't trust ourselves. So we try to trust the perceptions of somebody else. And we go back to the narcissist because it's uncomfortable dealing with this fragmentation. So we go back to a narcissist or the same one because it's a pattern that's familiar and it's comfortable. We may not like it, but it's just comfortable and familiar. So psychological fragmentation can manifest as cognitive dissonance, holding conflicting beliefs about the narcissist or about oneself and life in general. It also causes emotional numbing. This gives us a difficulty to assess or regulate our feelings. We alienate ourselves from ourselves. This is where we feel disconnected from our true selves. And then there's this inner conflict. We battle between different versions of our self-perception. This is why it's hard to trust even God. We may believe in His word, but we fall away from His word because of this conflict within us. And then sometimes there's even memory gaps. We have difficulty recalling events clearly due to disassociation, where we forget the bad things, but we ruminate on the good things. So healing from psychological fragmentation requires reintegrating these fractured parts of yourself. And this means recognizing that the version of you that existed in the narcissist fantasy was never you. It was a construct built for their benefit, around their beliefs, around their forced idealization of you. The real you was buried between layers of manipulation, but you are still there. By connecting with your authentic emotions, questioning false beliefs, and reclaiming personal agency, you can rebuild a solid, unified sense of self, one that is no longer defined by the narcissistic perception. You now will begin to be defined by your truth that you believe about yourself and the truth that God says who you are. So healing from psychological fragmentation or fractioning after the narcissistic trauma brings the fractured parts of you back into alignment. This means reconnecting with your authentic self, your authentic identity, and this means being truthful. You have to see how you are gaslighting yourself. Hey, resistor, I'm so sensitive right now. I see red flags everywhere. Well, that's good, as you should. So acknowledge the split within yourself. This is how you want to heal. This is how you do it. You acknowledge that psychological fragmentation occurs when your mind was forced to live in two conflicting realities: the narcissist fantasy and the painful truth. Healing begins when you recognize these fractures. Acknowledge that the version of you shaped the narcissist's illusion. This was not the real you, ever. The goal of this is to bridge the gap between the self that was manipulated and the self that was hidden behind or underneath the illusion. Number 2, you reclaim your own narrative. The narcissist distorted your perceptions of reality, making you question your own identity and your own emotions. Now you get to take back control. Start your journaling experience by journaling your thoughts, your feelings with radical honesty. Be honest about them, but also be honest about yourself. Write about who you were before the relationship. Write about who you became during the relationship. and also write about who you want to become now, after. This process helps you to piece together those fragmented parts of yourself. Number 3, feel your emotions without judgment. Many survivors suppress emotions like anger, sadness, and grief because the narcissist trained them to believe that feelings were wrong or unimportant. Emotions are crucial to healing. Allow yourself to feel everything without guilt. Anger is valid. Grief is valid. Even longing for the narcissist is valid. But emotions are not facts. Remember that. Feeling them does not mean that you have to act upon them. It means that you are allowed to just process and release them. And how you do that is through prayer, understanding who you are in your feelings. Like, ask yourself, is this who I want to be? Is this me defined? Am I defined by this feeling? How can I shift myself away from this feeling? Is this feeling even mine to own? And number 4, you reconnect to your body. Trauma fragments not just the mind, but also the body. Engage in practices that ground you in physical reality, such as breath work. This calms your nervous system. Engage in movement, dancing or shaking. Do some yoga, walking, dancing. Okay, yoga doesn't have to be, when we say yoga, it's a taboo word. Okay, let's just concentrate on stretching. Okay? So just do some form of exercise and some sort of release to release your body of the tension. There's cold water therapy, cold showers. Put ice packs on your stiff joints or your sore muscles and bring awareness back to the present moment. Challenge your false beliefs. The narcissist conditioning likely left you with toxic beliefs. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm stupid. I'm an idiot. Love is conditional. Nobody's going to want to love me now. All men are alike. All women are alike. My needs don't matter. Well, these things are not your truths. So actively challenge these and ask, where does this belief come from? Is this actually true? Or was it something that I was manipulated into believing? And what belief would serve my healing instead of hanging on to this belief? Number 6, rebuild trust through small wins. After narcissistic abuse, you may feel disconnected from your own instincts. So start rebuilding trust by making small, confident decisions each day. Choose what to eat, what to wear, set your boundaries, say no without over-explaining yourself, not even to yourself. Don't justify your actions and your decisions. Stop doing that. Every small act of self-trust reinforces your ability to take control of your life again. Biased beliefs are toxic. Is this true? Usually untrue. Speak the truth. That's right. Engage in self-compassion. Fragmentation creates an inner war. Parts of you will blame yourself. You'll feel ashamed, or you'll struggle with conflicting emotions. The only way to heal is through self-compassion. Engage in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8. Love is patient, love is kind. Bathe yourself in that. Nurture yourself in unconditional love. The only way to heal is through self-compassion. Mercy and grace goes a long way. And speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend. Remind yourself, I did the best I could with what I knew. I'm allowed to heal at my own pace. I am whole, even if I don't feel like it yet. I'm moving forward. I'm doing the best I can. And my best is good enough. and learn to love yourself through the lens of unconditional love. Like I said, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8. Find support that sees the real you. Surround yourself with people who validate your reality, not those who minimize your experience. Whether through therapy or coaching or survival communities, have a safe space to express yourself. This helps reintegration happen a lot faster. And release your need for closure. A major part of healing is accepting that the narcissist will never provide the closure that you seek. They never truly saw you, but that doesn't mean you can't see yourself. Closure comes when you decide this story with the narcissist is over. Okay. Number 10, embrace your truth. Healing is about returning to yourself, your emotions, your needs, your values. When you let go of the narcissist's illusion and fully embrace your own reality, the fragmented pieces of you start coming back together. And when that happens, the narcissist loses their grip on your mind, your heart, your future, and even your soul. You were never broken, okay? You were just disconnected from yourself, and maybe you still are, and that's okay. Healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were all along. I hope that this video has helped you to see that healing is for you. And you can heal, and you will, as you decide how to heal on your own terms. And I hope this video has given you some insight on how to do this as you begin to put yourself first. That's what healing is about, putting yourself first. You've got to do this for you, because nobody's going to do this healing work for you. It's got to be you. So this is not forced by any means. And no one should ever tell you when to start, how to do this, and how to finish. No one should ever tell you, oh, you've been healing for 2 years now. Don't you think you better stop? Don't you think you just better get on with your life? Just don't listen to that. You are supported as God supports you. Your angels support you. God's word supports you. This channel supports you. You're here for a reason. Because you're loved. You're here on this earth for a reason, because you're loved. And you're going through this for a reason. And, you know, when you're ready to hear that reason, you'll hear it. You'll know it. It'll resonate with you. But until then, you know, just allow life to unfold your way. You make up the rules. You decide what's best for you. So with that said, I guess I'm going to just see if you guys have anything that, you know, any questions or anything. You guys are talking amongst yourselves, so I'm just going to catch up. Don't mind me, I'm just catching up. Okay. Okay. So I think we're all good. So if you guys have questions, comments, or suggestions, just email me. You know the deal. You know the drill. Jordan, since Cynthia says, thank you, Jordan Shore. You are very wise and perceptive. You helped me tonight. God bless you. Aw, that's so sweet. My way, Tay. Hi, how are you doing? What is that? Photobiomodulation? Is that a new word I have to work up? I'm doing studies on photobiomodulation. Okay, well, let me look that up then. Is that I've never heard that before. But it's a big word for me. I think I said it right. Photobiomodulation. Which light is used? Okay, photobiomodulation is a technique by which light is used to stimulate living things to healing themselves. Oh, it has taken the form of handheld lasers. Oh, like EMF. Okay. All right. I get it. Cool. Yeah, I know that therapy. Yeah. I know somebody who is into selling that stuff for animals like horses and dogs and for people as well. So yeah. So okay. Oh, cool. Thank you. So yeah, I'm just again, Shannon, have you heard of destiny swapping or spirit siphoning? No, I have not. You're welcome, Maria. I'm glad to see you here. Exactly, Jordan. The point is your ex knew her job status. So if you just, can I just interject because Jordan is pulling on a thread here that's very insightful. Thank you, Jordan. And if I can just share my 2 cents on this, that, yeah, this was premeditated, I'll say. The fact that he knew her job status, that she's a psychologist, it builds him up. And if she accepts him and he's the bad guy, he's the narcissist, then what does that tell you? You know, in this video we talked about the shared fantasy and how the narcissist idealizes their target beyond the regular idealization. It's delusional. So now your ex, excuse me, in his mind, he has her acceptance to prove to him that he's not a bad guy. This psychologist who knows and understands human nature, knowing that he has a wife, a child, another life before her, and she's okay with it, well, then she accepts him. So this is giving him the free supply that he needs. His supply is obviously extreme because he's using a psychologist in order to get his fix, you know, to make himself feel that grandiose and that superior. It's just a matter of time before she finds out. She'll catch on, just like you did. You're a smart cookie, you caught on, so she will catch on too, and he'll fall. And you know what? This could be because this is a psychiatrist or psychologist. You know, this is a person who has a high standing in the way of understanding human nature. This is a powerful job title. So this makes him look good, but when she finds out who he is, he's gonna crash and burn, because this is the height of it. Like, I mean, you can't get any higher than this unless you know, the higher person or on even standing would be a doctor, a lawyer, a police officer, and maybe even a teacher. So a psychiatrist, like, once she sees through this, he's gonna crash and burn. Like, he's bitten off more than he can chew. So destiny swapping, I have not heard of that. We're gonna go back to that. I'm looking that up. Wow. Destiny swapping refers to the supposed ability to interchange or significantly alter one's predetermined life course with that of another person. I'm not so sure about that, but it sounds to me like possession. That's what that would sound like to me. But I'll dig into that. You gave me some insight. You gave me something to study tonight. Thank you. So, yeah, 15 years you loved Cynthia. He needs to figure it out, not you. Yeah. See, you're a teacher. So see, you know, he goes for the high caliber women. He goes for the high caliber women. So yeah. Look at spirit siphoning. I will. So thank you, Jordan. Thank you, everyone, for your help and your ideas and your... Oh, good night. Good night, Maria. Nice to see you. Yeah, I will definitely look into these two things. So, hi, Ross. It's nice to see you from North Carolina. Cool. So, spirit siphoning. Okay, well, you've given me some research to do tonight, girl. Thank you. So, you're all special too. And I just want to say thank you, everyone, for helping Cynthia and helping each other on this chat tonight. I look forward to reading the chat room later. You know, you guys are just, I love reading the chat room. It just gives me such a boost of, you know, positivity and love. Like I just, you guys are awesome. But with that said, 11:11, ooh, another one. Okay, I think we're just gonna head off to bed now, close it out, say goodnight, say adieu, and let you guys finish off your night, spend time with your families, or maybe read scripture, go prayer, go get into prayer, go do some mirror work, some homework maybe you guys still have to do. Yeah, I'm gonna look up the spirit siphoning and see what we come up with. But I want to say thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure, and I hope this video has helped you, that your healing is going to take as long as it takes, and it's complicated. It is. So you got to go slow. Take it baby steps. Just do what you can, and God will take care of the rest. Just believe in him. He's faithful. He loves you, and we love you too. I love you, and I enjoy our time together, and I hope to see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or tomorrow night at 10, whatever you can get. That's fine. Whenever you can see us and visit, we'd love to have you. So with that said, good night, God bless, and may God minister to you in your sleep. I love you. Good night. See you soon.